Sweet Kisabalio, Napaku Eloya, sweet Kisabalio, Napaku Elon. You take it from Peter today, or Paul will take it from you tomorrow, Mama. Sweet, living is sweet, where the rich are poor. Why not pray for a long fellow? You can pray for a long life. As long as they live, you know, the better we grow. Fine power, if I know, it can make you heavy. It's just like a volcano, it's great to capsize. Sweet, it's our liver. No for go along. You want big and eat it, or we just can eat it. Kiss our oh, sweet kiss our little. No for go along. You take it from Peter today, or Paul will take it from you tomorrow, Mama. You take it from me today, or Mother will take it from you tomorrow. Fine, go by your fine. May your fuel. Well, people do to you, you have to cry. I don't know for one person, it's a matter of time. After me, it's a lesson, yeah, rather this I have. Sweet is our liver, not for go alone, Mama. Human being can eat it, the deer can eat it. Go to our liver. Sweet is our liver, not for go alone. Human beings can eat it, or a creature eat it too. Sweet, living is sweet, where the rich are poor. Why not pray for a long fellow? You can pray for long life. As long as they living, the better we grow. You take it from me right today, or Mary will take it from you tomorrow. God will take it from you tomorrow. Fine power is power. It can make you heavy. Looking like a volcano, a way to capsize. Quesavalia, Mama, no for go alone. Why don't pray for long fellow? They always pray for long life. As long as they live, the better we grow, my people. Sweet, Kisabalio.
Good morning and welcome to a brand new edition of the Weah Factor. Today on the Factor, we look at Henry Costa's exit from the Boakai camp. Right here on this show, I predicted that Coasta will leave Boakai. I explained the reasons why. I have maintained on this program that Joseph Newman Boakai does not intend to run for presidency. I have maintained that. I was also the first person to openly say that Henry Pedro Costa and the government of Liberia have a deal. Remember that. Mark that down somewhere. And then we'll look at the George Manuel Weah State of Failure. You see, we should stop calling it State of the Nation address. Under Weah is the state of the failure. So a few words on it today. The entire program is going to be about 20-25 minutes. I have a few pressing meetings to attend, but I will make sure I make it power packed. So let's start with Henry Pedro Costa's meltdown on live radio. This occurred, I think, on Friday. This occurred on Friday when Costa hosted his morning program and had a total meltdown.
So what you are having is that, what we expecting the Unity Party and the Joseph Baka to do by now is to provide us direction. They told us that they were going to pull out from the CPP, but as it says, we have not gotten any information from them, and there's no development in the CPP. The time is going. As it says, January has already ended. We are almost in February. So are we going to spend this 2022 like we spent 2021 without any achievement? Politics is about preparation. It's about time. The time interval plays a great role in politics. But at the sense we are not doing anything, we are not engaging, and we are not giving our people the necessary information. At the sense they are over than that. So Joseph Juma Baka actually need to speak and tell us the way forward right now at the sense for 2023.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Boga, let me speak there to what my youth chair, Mohammed Conan, raised, and to what the VCO, Michael Vanny, raised about direction. Where do we go? It's a good point. I get asked that question quite a lot. I'm sure people ask you too, Boga. Not that you are a CPP person, but I get asked that question a lot. In fact, I get harassed. What is happening? And it's a shame. I don't know what to tell them. In fact, I don't know what to tell them anymore. Because what I know is that on December 20th, Unity Party Executive Committee took a vote to pull out of the CPP. And they were supposed to do that ever since. It's been 1 month. Yesterday, January 20th, made it 1 month, since the Unity Party Executive Committee took that vote. Now, we don't have direction. I'm sorry. I can't answer that question. Joe Boga should answer that question for you. He is the leader of the Unity Party. Now, my party that I am in has left the CPP. I'm no longer a member of the CPP. I'm no longer a member of the CPP. So Joe Boga is the one that should answer that question. Because I can't answer. I don't know. I don't know what the Unity Party is up to. If whether they want to remain in the CPP, and what they need to understand is the people are confused. Right here, you open the phone lines here. The supporters of Joe Boga are confused. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what's happening. Joe Boga needs to give his people direction. So you're not asking me anymore. Nobody should ask me anymore what Joe Boga is doing or Unity Party is doing, because I cannot answer that question for you because I do not know. So ask Joe Boga directly. He is the one that will answer your question. We don't know any direction. Everybody is confused. Everybody is confused. It's been over 1 month since Unity Party took a vote. Up to now, we haven't heard anything. So please don't ask me.
Everybody is not confused, Costa. You and the fanatics that support Joseph Numa Boakai may be confused. Those who follow the Dumoy factor are not confused. I make sure to educate and inform my listeners. There's only one confused camp here, and as you said, it is the Joseph Numa Boakai camp, and people like you who don't have the foresight. You see, folks, let me brag a little bit. If you want to follow the news event by event in a scattered fashion, you can do it. But if you want to understand what the news mean, each story is a part of a chapter that is part of a larger book. And so it is only on the Dumoy factor that you have a comprehensive analysis of what's going on in politics. It's no use knowing that, for example, a particular politician has made this shift or the other without being able to tie it into a broad narrative. And so under the Weah factor, you're able to make sense of the news. Henry Pedro Costa is not frustrated. I heard pundits on the Spoon Talk and other regular radio programs. They think this is Henry Costa being left out. This is part of a well thought out strategy. Remember, if you're a good follower of the Weah factor, you know that in politics, there are no coincidences. And every move is well crafted, well scripted, and executed to obtain or to achieve a specific objective. Henry Pedro Costa was meant to do this months ago, to plan a situation that would justify his exit. Henry Pedro Costa is not frustrated. There is no way on earth that Pedro would pick up the phone and call Joseph Newman Boakai and explain to him that I'm having these anxieties. I'm having these anxieties about the way we're going. It's been a month since the party reached a decision to leave. Why is the Unity Party still there? This seems like a perfect private conversation. Why is he putting it out in the public? Because he's not talking to Boakai. He is talking to you. He is talking to the public. He wants a public justification for his exit. You see, Costa has received money. And his role, the negative role he played, manipulating the egos and aspirations of Joseph Newman Boakai to continuously deteriorate, the relationship between Boakai and Cummins, and to escalate the conflict within the CPP and to try and cause a collapse of the CPP. He has been unable to achieve collapse, but they have achieved the exit of the ALP. As you know, the ALP is useless outside of the CPP. What is going to be Costa and Benona US politics? They are no longer stakeholders in the CPP process. They have played their last card. There's nothing for ALP to do. There is no functional political role for ALP to play. You can't be speaking as a stakeholder of the CPP. You can't be speaking as a potential vote-getting partner of Joseph Newman Boakai. You don't have a constituency that's sizable. You're useless. You can't be speaking as a financier of Joseph Newman Boakai because UA has no plans of bankrolling anybody's presidential campaign. What then is the utility of the ALP and Henry Pedro Costa? That's one. There is genuine irrelevance and feeling of irrelevance, but Henry Costa is carefully using that backdrop to start to pave the way to exit the JMB 2023 presidential bid. And also, I'm sure Costa is well informed that Joseph Newman Boakai is trying to sell out either to Cummins or to George Weah. On this program, there are a few things that are claimed only on this program. It is only on the Weah factor that I hold the view that Joseph Newman Boakai is not running for the presidency of the Republic of Liberia. And I told you, anytime you see him act like a candidate, he's doing so to increase the price. I told you that. I also told you that Henry Pedro Costa has been bought by the Weah administration. Every time he releases a bombshell or whatever. He's doing it in an instrumentalized manner. There are internal cabinet fights. There are people in George Weah cabinet that don't like each other. They can give him leaks to wound their opponents. This is no longer a genuine anti-corruption fight. So for you, the public, you can be fed these little quote unquote bombshells, which is basically cabinet gossip and exposés meant to target and undermine the standing of particular members of the cabinet that are enemies to the man who writes Costa's checks. Any extent to which Costa attacks Nathaniel McGill is a packaging decision to continue to have that aura of a critical voice. It is all staged. And so when you hear Henry Costa speaking the way he is doing, he is trying to invite a conflict, between he and the Black-eyed people, and he wants it to be public, so that when he eventually leaves, nobody calls him inconsistent, and nobody really, the broad thrust of his support base, do not see him as a traitor. This is a face beat type of politics, for those young ladies who go and get face beat done. Costa is doing what we call political face beating. He is on a PR gimmick. There is nothing in what Costa said about Joe Boakai that he didn't already know. He knew that this campaign was underfunded. He knew that Joe Boakai was low energy. He's always known this. There's nothing new there. But this on-air meltdown and a new sense of urgency to get Joseph Boakai in campaign mode to act like he's running for president is to lay the groundwork for a divorce. When you want to leave woman, you have to make flour. So Costa is creating the justification of his exit. That's what we're witnessing. And of course, that throws into question if Joseph Newman Boakai, who is being publicly called confused and who is being publicly attacked by Henry Costa, is going to take out time to go to Temple of Justice to help Benona Yere establish his case against Cummings. And wrapped in that is the question of whether or not it's a wise decision. I challenge Joe Boakai to take the witness seat, because I understand from lawyers that if your testimony is going to be relied upon to return a guilty verdict, then we have to assess your character. So Joseph Newman Boakai presenting himself as a witness opens a lot of opportunity for the ANC and Alexander Cummings legal team, and also for the people of Liberia. So this will be a very important opportunity to quiz Joseph Newman Boakai on a litany of issues. Basically, it will be the systematic destruction of any positive public persona he has. We will put him on trial. And so I think it will be very interesting. First of all, this is a flimsy case. Secondly, Joseph Newman Boakai is 79, poor health, poor memory. Now, we're going to be going through a framework document. Every line in that document matters. So Joseph Newman Boakai will have to recollect facts, dates. It will be a blockbuster. And in all of the miscalculations of Joseph Newman Boakai, this will be the worst. that he will follow Weah to court, and he will be now no longer a statesman, but a state witness. It will be in plain view that Boakai hands were behind the lawsuit. That Joseph Newman Boakai, just to be able to get rid of Alexander Cummings, is willing to tell lies and do all sorts of backstabbing and nasty dealings just for the sake of power. So this humble Boakai, who is naturally loved by the people, who is not desperate, supposedly, will now be deconstructed. And the Liberian people will see it will be laid to bear. The greed and power-thirsty Joseph Newman Boakai will be stripped for the public to see. Now, this is a man who is desperate for power, who would destroy anybody just for political power. His naked ambition. And of course, the fact that he's working with the government of Liberia, he is working. First of all, let's ask this question. Joseph Newman Boakai as a witness. This is a witness that's on government payroll. Because, as former vice president, he's receiving salaries he's receiving compensation from the government on a monthly basis. Where in the world does an opposition leader accept monthly payments from the government? So this is supposed to be a credible witness. This is someone who is on government payroll. And so let him take that. Let him take that seat. I dare them. I dare the Unity Party to put that 79-year-old puppy on cross-examination. I dare them. I dare them. So today, Joseph Newman Boakai is in the press talking about justice, talking about go after the Zogo, deal with the Zogo issues. You had 12 years. What did you do with the Zogo issue? Your office particularly handled vulnerable people group of 77. How did you expand its mandate? You signed over 60 concessions. For each of those concessions, Joseph Newman Boakai got a kickback. What did you do about this Zogo question? Back then. And so Joseph Newman Boakai is at a crossroad. He could make the biggest political mistake of his life, which would be agreeing to testify in open court in concert with the disgraced George Weah government. It will make it plain that there is only one opposition leader in Liberia, and that is Alexander Benedict Cummings, and George Weah is controlling Joseph Newman Boakai. To be clear. And so sorry about that. But this would expose Joseph Newman Boakai as a traitor, as a regime collaborator. Total and utter failure. Let's come to the issue of George Manuel Weah. State of the Nation address. 3 things to expect from the State of the Nation address. Number 1, lies. Number 2, excuses. And number 3, exaggeration. Number 1, lies. Number 2, excuses. Number 3, exaggeration. When George Manuel Weah took the helm of office almost 5 years ago, he made a promise. In fact, his 12 years bid for the presidency was premised on a promise of lifting young Liberians out of poverty, of connecting this nation to abundance of opportunities, to the outside world, utilizing his reputation for being this global footballer and the connections that come along with it, that he was going to bring the young people, the downtrodden masses, which he claims as his political constituency. We're going to get a fighting chance against poverty. The only person that benefited from George Weah administration that we can prove tangibly is George Weah. The estates, the millions that are transferred into his personal bank accounts. What Weah is going to use this occasion of the 5th State of the Nation address to do is to try to explain the slow pace of economic growth by blaming COVID, when in fact it was COVID that saved the Weah administration. Because what did COVID do? COVID re-attracted aid, because by and large donors had given up on Liberia, especially after their money sitting at the central bank was being tampered with by the government. This government had lost total credibility. Nobody was looking at this George Weah administration until it came to a matter of life and death. COVID. And another thing COVID did was to attract increased remittance. Liberians living abroad who are working hard. Because it was a time of crisis, and Western governments made sure that families received a lot of support in most of those Western countries, and people decided to share with the people back home. It brought millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into the Liberian economy. So it was that we even survived as an economy and that we're still carrying on is thanks to the diaspora and the remittance. Okay. So George Manuel Weah is going to try to blame COVID. He will present a government that is in that's in a fight against corruption. But there is no fight. That's why I'm saying lies. There is no fight against corruption. In fact, the government facilitates corruption. In fact, anti-corruption institutions are used to launder government money. So we're starting to hear about increased allotment in the budget to anti-corruption institutions. Those monies will find their way to government official pockets. The government itself is facilitating corruption. That's what I mean by lies. Exaggeration. A few community roads were built. He's going to make it look like he's been rebuilding the country's infrastructure. That's the exaggeration. And of course, I told you about the COVID excuse. About the COVID excuse. So I told you there's going to be lies, excuses, and exaggeration. So the IE, just like the sport pitch, the IE practice ground thing that he's making. These are all like token projects, not addressing the pains of our people. So that's what Weah is going to do. He's going to stand and recite. He's going to stand and recite lies, excuses, and exaggeration. That's what the state of failure is going to be. Tomorrow, I will lay one copy of George Weah 2021 State of the Nation address here. Then I will lay a copy of this year's State of the Nation address, and I'll track the promises. Share the video and let me know your thoughts about the president's State of the Nation address. Do you expect any truth? Do you expect any new approach? I don't. First of all, the president should not even be making additional promises. He does not have the credibility to promise. There are promises that are unfulfilled. But let me hear your opinion on the president's State of the Nation address. Do you think the one from last year has been executed in terms of the promises? And what is your view on the state of Liberia? Let me hear from you, and I'll use a lot of what you will write in the comment section. I will use a lot of that for material tomorrow. But that's it. In summary, Henry Pedro Coasta is leaving Joseph Gima Boakai, and he is making the excuses. He's laying the groundwork to walk away. Ultimately, Coasta will try. Coasta will work for Weah re-election team. That is my prediction. If it doesn't happen, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But as far as my calculation and intelligence is concerned, Henry Coasta is on his way to Weah, and I'm convinced about that. So like the video, share the video, invite others to watch the Dumoy Factor. Don't keep it to yourself. Always after the show, make sure you share the video. Share with your contacts so they too can get all of the analysis and insights that we present here on the Dumoy Factor. Thanks for being there, and it's goodbye for me.